2 on your review, you're going to find the asymptotes, but you are not going to use the rules about top-heavy, bottom-heavy, balanced, none of that. You only do the rules like that with more complicated ones like you see in number 3, okay, where it's an expression over an expression. These are the ones, when you get to number 3, that's when you're going to compare the degrees to try to get your asymptotes, and then you're going to look in the denominator to try to get the vertical asymptote. That's number 3. In number 2, you want to think back to when we first started working with rational functions, when I asked you to think about how these are transformations of the hyperbola 1 over x. If 1 over x is your parent function, we're going to think about how you shift it up, down, left, right. Okay? If 1 over x is your parent function, it's a hyperbola that looks like this. Just a little sketch of it. And what are its asymptotes? Just the plain old y equals 1 over x has a horizontal asymptote where? And a vertical? 0. So if you shift the graph up, the y equals 0 will go to y equals whatever it goes up by. If you shift it to the right, the x equals 0 will shift to the right, whatever it goes right by. If all you do is dilate the function, like in A, what happens to the asymptotes? They don't move. The horizontal is still at y equals 0, and the vertical is still at x equals 0. All it does is expand away from the origin. But there's no shift, all right? Up, down, left, right. Make sure that you have the equations written out for the asymptotes. Don't just write the number 0 and 0. You have to write y equals 0 and x equals 0. You would lose points because I need to know whether you know it's a vertical line or a horizontal line. And you distinguish between the two with y equals 0 for what? Horizontal, and x equals 0 for vertical. All right? So for B, think about which way functions shift when you add 8 to the x value. Do they go up, down, left, or right? They've been going left for the last 3 months, right? Since we started transforming functions. So the vertical asymptote that you see here in green for the parent function would shift left 8, right? So it's going to go left 8, so the vertical is going to go to x equals negative 8. If all the graph does is shift to the left, does that affect the horizontal? Say no. The student said no. So therefore, your horizontal is still at y equals 0. All right? Can someone tell me the answers for C and D? Explain why you got your answer. What do you got? Go ahead. Okay, so translation, right? Shifting left or right. I agree with there's no horizontal shift, left or right. So your vertical asymptote will stay at 0. But what does this plus 3 on the back do? Up 3. So that's going to go to y equals 3. Okay? How about the last one? Go ahead.
It would be right 4 for the vertical should be x.
The vertical would go to x equals 4. The horizontal would drop down to negative 6. That's how you do those basic transformations of the parent function 1 over x when you do the asymptotes. All right?